What's up, beautiful people? Today's video I will be doing the bioactive enclosure for my bearded dragon. If you've seen updates on this channel lately, I'm in this very echoey room. That's because it's still not filled yet, but the room is finally complete. I've been planning this for a while now, and this room has been converted into the animal room, which means I can get 3 times the space for all of my tanks, my setups and my ecosystems. The benefit to this is that I get to make regular videos, the shorts and also long form videos. This will be happening more regular than usual because at the moment it's almost every month or two, and it's just not as much as I would like it to be. A little bit of backstory on how I got the bearded dragon and why I fell in love with him straight away. I was doing my usual routine, getting ficus fruit flies, extra feeders for all the other animals in my room, and as soon as I laid my eyes upon him, I just fell in love. He ran straight to the front of the glass, and all of the other ones inside the tank were very docile, but he was just so excitable. With his upfront and unique character, I just fell in love and I reserved him there and then. At the time though, this room was still being built, and obviously I didn't have the space or the means to keep it. As soon as this room was done, I then decided the first thing I would get would be my bearded dragon. The video won't be as in-depth today, and it won't be as detailed as my usual builds. This is because the enclosure that it's in, it's actually a temporary home. As soon as he'll get to about a year old, he's about 4 months at the moment, I'll be making a brand new enclosure for him, which will be even bigger and even taller. I've noticed just for keeping him that small amount of time, even though I built this like sort of extravagant background, he definitely uses the height more than the length of the enclosure. He loves to climb, and this for me just basically means that I can get him into a 4 foot tall instead of a 2, and maybe it's the same length, a 4 by 4. That will probably be the preferred method. But every single bearded dragon's different, so please don't use this as the exact same guideline. It's just like your dog, they all have their own personalities, but from what I've seen, he loves to climb the canopy and he doesn't really use much length of the enclosure. That might change as he gets older, but for now, he just loves sitting on a basking spot, getting to those high locations and feeling like the king of the castle. But as always from me, peace and love, I'm out. Now that we've got that long intro out the way, the first thing I want to do is actually physically build the vivarium. Once I built the vivarium, I used silicone seal all the way around all of the edges, and this just keeps it watertight. It wasn't the tidiest job in the world, but all I did is just made sure that it was going to hold water in case I overwatered at some point, which is very rare anyway because it's an arid enclosure. I've seen a few techniques from some people where they initially just put the foam on and throw the substrate straight onto the foam as soon as it's curing. The truth of that is I would not recommend that whatsoever. My backgrounds I normally do is I put the silicone on, cut it to size, then use silicone and then put the substrate straight on because it'll stick much better. And the truth of it is that's exactly how you should do it. I was lucky that I used black foam because it ended up actually looking like rocks. And at the time, the pet store called me to say I needed to collect the bearded dragon because I had him reserved for way too long and I needed to get new stock in. So this led to me to actually then get forced, or my hand was forced to then get him straight away. And despite the background not looking how I wanted it to look, I had to go and get it. And if you're wondering what substrate mix I used, I'll put it on the screen right now. There was a lot of research done behind what plants I could keep in here, what plants I think will be good. The left side of the tank was more humid, or where I essentially sprayed it down, and the right side of the tank was its hot spot, its basking spot, and at the same time the dry area. I added some Carex. These were the big grassy type plants towards the left side. I added some aloe vera, some echeveria as well. I sort of dotted those around. I had quite a few different types of those. I also added some haworthia, and on the left, right next to the Carex, I added some pansies. The pansies themselves, the flowers, they'll be very good food source for the bearded dragon. I'm not too sure how well they'll do in this environment, but I did add an additional plant light, which I'll show you towards the end on how it looks and with that plant light in. Once I played around with it for a long time, I then decided, well, I may as well now just top it all off with a nice desert substrate mix, which is exactly what I did. I topped it all off with a nice desert substrate mix. This covered all of that substrate mix below, which is not what you would usually see within a desert or arid environment. And just remember, this is a temporary enclosure. For me, this bearded dragon is in 1 year's time is going to be absolutely almost maxed out in size, and I'll be building an even bigger enclosure. So I wasn't going to go out too hard with it because I know that everything I add in here at this moment is going to be absolutely fine, and there's no way he's going to struggle with everything that I've already put in. I also, for the second time, just want to apologize for the echo in the room. This is the room I used to always record all of my audio in because it was out of the way. But for now, it's actually the new animal room. So it will be echoey for the first few initial videos. Probably only this video because the next one will have all of the tanks in here and everything else. So it won't be anywhere near as echoey as it is now. But finally, we've got this enclosure finished. After I put in the water bowl and the feeding dish, I am really, really happy with how this turned out. I don't know if you guys are as well, but for me, I'm very, very happy with how it turned out. I now just want to show you that extra grow light that I put in here, but you can see that extra plant light just at the other side of that UVB and UVA bulb. It gives it an extra little bit of light. All of those plants in here, I felt like they probably needed it. The next thing to add in here is the bioactive side of this vivarium. So the first thing I added in here are powder blue Porcellionidis pruinosis. These are a very prolific species of isopod, and from me and my memories of them, believe me, I don't want to go anywhere near them normally or in a multi-species vivarium like you've probably seen on the channel. This is because they grow way too quick normally, but this bearded dragon, the amount I've seen him eat, I know he'll keep them under control very well. I then added in some Porcelliolevis orange and springtails. I put all of these in towards the back behind that Carex and then buried it over with that desert substrate. And now for the star of the show. This bearded dragon is 4 months old and I genuinely really need your help. I haven't actually named this bearded dragon yet, and the reason being is because I honestly can't decide what to name him. He's so beautiful and I need a name that goes alongside with how beautiful he actually is. Once I've got a really good list of all of the names in the comment section, I'll then start a poll on the channel or in the community section where we'll vote what we actually like best. But we also have to think about his personality. Now this bearded dragon has the biggest personality you've ever seen. Whenever I'm prepping his food, he literally runs to the front of the glass trying to hop out to get the food that I'm actually preparing within the tubs. So as I'm adding the different calciums and the different minerals to the food, he tries to come out and jump into the tubs of the crickets as opposed to waiting for me to add them. But I really do hope that you've liked the build. I hope you've learned something new today as well, and hopefully this helps for yourselves in the future when you're deciding to have a bearded dragon, or even if you already have a bearded dragon and you're deciding to go bioactive. And this is where his character really comes out, as I decided to then show you the different minerals I use for my feeders. As you can hear the cricket tub open, he then runs down straight to the front of the glass to be fed, almost demanding the food. I actually prepared a nice kale, broccoli and green bean mix for him, or food. This is something that I'll be feeding him every single day as well, alongside the bugs. But he really just loves eating the bugs. So I'm probably going to have to vary it. One day I'll feed him all of the different proteins, and then the next day I'll give him all of his veg. And if you did like the video, don't forget to smash the like button, subscribe if you want to see more updates on the channel. But as always from me, peace and love, I'm out.